Carl, welcome to this week's edition of In the Dugout. Slightly sunnier surroundings for the first time this year. A couple of questions from the fans to start off with. This one from Steve Woodhouse, asking if we can sort of do different competitions for the fans. This one in particular, facing the crowd competition, which Rob would take the picture and obviously then circle the winner and maybe get more fans in. But is that something we could maybe sort out?
Why not? I'm sure we can do that. That's up to you boys. If you want to do the photo, where we're going to put it in the program, and yeah, why not? We'll give it a go, and see if it works.
And obviously the last couple of games we've been getting obviously good support for the Keighley game, and it's something we want to really continue and kick on for the rest of the season with that.
Yeah, I think it can. We want more, and the way the boys played against the Keighley, it was a great game to watch. The game was in the balance till the end there. So the boys did well, and hopefully, if we keep winning, we'll get more coming through.
And the next one from Christopher Moss, probably the question on everybody's lips: is there any news on who may be taking over as the new head coach just yet?
Not just yet. I've had some real good discussions with Pete Green. I've had a real good talk with him. It was a long one and a real good one. We both come out of it knowing what we want and where we're heading, and my next conversation will be with Reece out of the respect to those two, and like I say, we'll do what's best for the club. So there's no news on the coaching front, but I'm really hoping that we can make an announcement of a new signing next week. It's all been agreed. It's just a case of the player signing the contract, which will add to us, and he can play in numerous positions, and he'll put a lot of pressure on a lot of players that are here already. So we're looking, we're looking around at all sorts to strengthen, and we've put ourselves back in the mix now, and we need to make sure that if there's players become available, that we get hold of them.
How important is it at this stage of the season when you're going to be picking up little niggles and knocks here, there and everywhere? How important is it that you have more strength in depth than you can possibly get?
Well, with the month coming up we've got, we're going to have to maybe have a look around, because what people don't know is we probably only had 18-20 players last week available to us, so we haven't used the DR yet. Certainly something that Pete spoke to me about, and we may have to have a look there in the next month with the three Cumbrian teams we're playing. It'd be very physical games, and you'll expect some bumps and bruises and some injuries out of those games. But there's a lot of clubs making noise, looking for players and saying when they're going to strengthen and all this. So we'll just wait to see who's available, and then we'll go for it as and when we need to. But we're certainly got our eyes open and scouring around to see what we can bring in to strengthen us, certainly, because everyone knows our ambition for the year, and we've still got those ambitions, and we've still got those targets, and we have the finances to bring in what we need to bring in.
Talking about targets then, and obviously looking at getting a new head coach in as well, how important is it that you take as much time as you need to assess your options and pick the right man going forward?
Well, the boys that are in at the moment give them a lift. So, sometimes it's all about timing. If we bring someone else in to give them another lift, or we'll see. Listen, it's a process, and we've got no game this week, so there's not too much pressure. It's not only myself looking through the CVs. I've got the top man, asked him to have a look through them as well, because he may see something in some that I maybe, with knowing a lot of them, maybe a bit leaning that way or this way. So it's best we do it as a collective and do something we're happy, and Pete and Reece got to fit into the mould as well, because they play a massive part in this club going forward. I've no doubt about that. So we'll try and put a little dream team together and see what we can come up with, But it's the applicants that have applied all of high quality, so it makes it difficult on that sense. But there's no pressure to race in, and listen, you can change your mind every day. I just drive down the motorway and change my mind, and maybe him, or maybe him, or maybe him, and so I'm trying to get second opinions on a few, and speaking to a lot of people I know in the game who I respect and are up in the big stuff, and how you go about this sort of stuff, because it's not something that we've got full experience of. We've had 3 coaches in nearly 10 years now, so we need to do what's right for the club, and hopefully get someone who can take us to the next level.
And since recent Peter coming, as you say, the players have reacted, haven't they, since obviously changing the managerial position. We've got 2 wins out of 2 very different wins of sorts. Hemel obviously struggling. Keighley, we probably owed one. I think a lot of players would have thought from the iPro result. So to get 4 points from a possible 4 and climb ourselves back into the reckoning in behind Toronto, we're not far off now, are we?
Oh, the Keighley game was tricky, real tricky fixture for us, that one, and it was one that could have really set us back, big time. But when they got in front, that's what seemed to happen this year in games, and we just seemed to really stick together and grind that one out, which it was pleasing, very pleasing, because it's been a difficult couple of weeks for everyone at the club, and to pull off a victory like that, it's given everybody some hope. The supporters, ourselves, everyone involved with the club Doncaster, has given us a little bit of hope. And if we go with the right mentality to Workington and Whitehaven and those sort of places, and stick together how we did on the Keighley game, there'll be similar games. So we've all got some hope, haven't we? We've got this weekend off, and they'll freshen up, and hopefully we get some bodies back, and maybe some new players, I don't know, and we'll see. How impressive
has it been these last couple of games that we've been able to grind results out? Maybe that's what we were missing at the start of the season, unable to turn winning positions into victories, whereas these last couple of games we were pegged back against Hemel. They sort of scored a couple of tries, closed the gap, but we still managed to see the game out. Keighley were in front here, we came back and won that as well. So instead of collapsing it and losing the game, which we might have done at the start of the season, we've gone on and claimed the 2 points in each of those games.
It's just attitude thing. The players have took some ownership on what's happened over the last few weeks, and it's an attitude thing, or people saying it's a new coach syndrome thing. You see what happened to Hull last week when Saints had a new coach, and they've been poor all year. So sometimes it works for you, and sometimes it don't. Listen, we've won 2 games. We're not getting carried away, but it's given us some real hope of trying to do what we want to achieve at the end of the year.
And a weekend off now for the players, as you mentioned. How crucial could that prove to be ahead of what you've already mentioned is a massive month in June, 2 long trips, a tough game here against Barrow, so a week off this weekend to really recuperate and get ready for what is a massive month for the season?
I think if you speak to most of the boys, they would have rather played, just to keep the good feeling going, So it's a tricky one. One sense we can get some bodies back. The other sense might have been better for us to continue playing, but who knows?
And those long trips as well, how much character will the players have to show to obviously travel all the way there, put on a performance, travel all the way back, not only once but twice throughout the month of June?
Yeah, listen, Workington, Whitehaven, Barrow, tough places to go. It doesn't matter if they're bottom of the league or top of the league. When you go in there, you're going to have a game in it. They're always physical. Whitehaven's hit some form. Workington's not doing too bad, so they're going to be tough games. Whitehaven's ahead of us in the league. I think Workington's not far behind us. They'll look at it as a 4-pointer for them as well. We just need to go there with the right attitude. Go with the right attitude, no problem. We should do okay.
Thanks, Carl.
Before I finish, I just want to, obviously, Club Donny and everything, just send our condolences to what happened in Manchester. I just think it's a terrible, sad situation when people are targeting kids. And one thing we're massive here in Club Donny is the foundation and the kids and all that. And for what happened in Manchester is just disgraceful. And our condolences from Club Donny to all the families of who lost their loved ones. And you know, we're all thinking of them.